My name is Jake. For 6 years, I was a national park ranger. I don't have a badge anymore. I burned my uniform. People ask me why I quit. They ask why I moved to a city where there are no trees. I tell them it was the pay. I tell them I wanted a desk job. But that is a lie. I quit because the woods, they started to remember me. I quit because I saw a man in a business suit standing on a ladder in the middle of nowhere. And when I touched that ladder, he looked at me. And the worst part? He didn't stay in the woods. This is my confession, and it might be my final warning. Welcome back to the True Haunting Log. Tonight, we are breaking the silence. We received a series of emails from a former ranger who goes by Jake. He has asked us to share his chronological timeline of events, from his first week as a rookie to the terrifying night that forced him to flee his home. These aren't just ghost stories. This is a documentation of a predator that lives in our national parks. A predator that mimics us, watches us, and waits for us to step off the trail. So turn off the lights, lock your windows, and listen closely to the buzzing. It started when I was a junior ranger. I was fresh out of the academy, eager to save the world. We got a call about a woman screaming off the main trail. Now, if you know the woods, you know that a mountain lion sounds exactly like a woman screaming. It's terrifying, but it's natural. So, I grabbed my gear. But my chief, a man with 30 years of experience, stopped me. He didn't just give me advice. He insisted on coming with me. I remember his face. He looked tired, resigned. We hiked about 20 minutes into the deep brush. We heard the scream again. It was a piercing, unnatural shriek. It was loud, but it was wrong. It didn't taper off like a breath. It cut off instantly, like a recording being paused. And then, the silence hit us. It wasn't just quiet. It was a vacuum. The wind died. The birds stopped mid-song. I couldn't even hear the crunch of my own boots. It felt like the air pressure dropped, popping my ears. Then came the vibration. A low, electric buzzing started in the base of my skull. It sounded like drilling static. It grew louder. It rattled my teeth. My vision started to blur and vibrate, like static on an old TV. I looked at my chief. Blood was trickling out of his nose. About 30 feet ahead, the trees seemed to warp. A figure stepped out. It was tall, maybe 7 feet. It was Vantablack. No features, no face, no clothes. Just a silhouette cut out of reality. It opened its mouth, or where a mouth should be, and released that woman's scream again. But this time, the scream was mixed with the static. Then, it dropped. It fell onto all fours. Its limbs had too many joints. It looked like a broken spider. And it began to crawl toward us. Fast. Jerky. I turned to run. My instinct screamed at me to flee. But my chief grabbed my arm. His grip was like iron. He pulled me close, his eyes wide and terrified, and whispered, "Don't run. Don't speak. Don't look back. Just keep walking." We turned around. We walked. We didn't run. For 10 minutes, I could hear it behind us. Snap, crack, buzz. I could feel the heat of it on my neck. It was playing with us, hurting us. But as soon as we hit the main trail, the buzzing stopped. The sound of the birds crashed back in. My chief wiped the blood from his nose. He looked at me and said, "There are things here that have been here longer than us. We don't acknowledge them. If you can't handle that, leave now." I stayed, because I thought I was brave. I didn't know that by seeing it, I had let it see me. 2 years later, I was on a search and rescue for a missing hiker. I was sweeping a sector deep in the grid, miles from any road. That's when I saw them. The stairs. You hear rumors in the academy. Don't touch the stairs. I thought it was a hazing joke. It wasn't. In the middle of a dense thicket of pine trees, there was a clearing. And in the center stood a staircase. It was white, pristine, with a polished wooden banister. It had perfectly clean beige carpet on the steps. It looked like someone had sliced a staircase out of a mansion and pasted it into the woods. There was no dirt on it. No leaves. It was terrifyingly clean. But the visual wasn't the scary part. It was the feeling. As soon as I looked at them, my brain went fuzzy. I felt a tug in my chest, a physical hook pulling me toward them. I heard a voice in my head. It wasn't an alien voice. It was my grandmother's voice. My grandmother, who had been dead for 5 years. "Jake, come up here, honey. I have something to show you." It sounded so real, so warm. I walked toward the stairs. I reached out my hand to grab the banister. I wanted to climb. I wanted to ascend. I knew that if I reached the top step, I would see something beautiful. My fingers were an inch from the wood when my radio screamed. A blast of static. "Jake, check in." The noise shattered the trance. I blinked. The warmth vanished. The stairs suddenly looked sinister. They looked like a jaw waiting to snap shut. I backed away, vomiting from the sudden vertigo. When I told a senior ranger later, she grabbed my shoulders. "Did you climb them?" she asked, her voice trembling. "No," I said. "Good," she whispered. "Because the stairs go down, Jake, not up. They go straight down to hell." The stairs were a trap, but the ladder was an execution. This was the event that broke me. It was early June. My partner and I were checking a remote trail for poison ivy. We split up. I took the East Fork. I was walking through dense brush when I found a circle. A perfect circle of dead earth. Nothing grew there. And in the center was a ladder. It was a 10-foot aluminum ladder, standing straight up, not leaning on a tree, not supported by wires, just balancing on the uneven dirt, defying physics. And on the very top step stood a man. He was wearing a charcoal gray business suit, a red tie, polished black dress shoes. He looked like a lawyer. His arms were pinned to his sides. His head was thrown all the way back, staring directly up at the midday sun. He wasn't blinking. He wasn't breathing. "Excuse me?" I called out. "Excuse me," I called out. "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me," I called out. Silence. "Sir, you can't be out here." Nothing. I walked closer. The air around the ladder felt cold, freezing. I walked around him. His mouth was open. wide open, unhinged. It looked like a silent scream, or like he was waiting to swallow something falling from the sky. I don't know why I did it. Curiosity is a curse. I reached out, and I touched the metal leg of the ladder. A loud snap echoed through the clearing. The man's neck cracked forward violently. His head whipped down to look at me. His body stayed perfectly still, but his face, his eyes were rolled back, completely white. His mouth stretched wider than humanly possible. And he made a sound. It was a massive, wet inhale. It sounded like a vacuum sucking in all the air in the clearing. I fell back, terrified. I grabbed my taser. "Get down!" I screamed. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around. It was my partner. "Jake, what's wrong?" he yelled. I pointed behind me. The man, the ladder. I turned back. Empty. The ladder was lying flat on the ground, rusted and old. The man was gone. There were no footprints. Just the rusted ladder and the dead circle of grass. We left. We didn't speak the whole way back. I went home early. I thought it was over. I thought I left him in the woods. But you don't touch the things in the woods without them touching you back. That night, I was packing my bags. I was done. I was going to quit in the morning. I lived in a small cabin about 5 miles from the park entrance. It was 2 a.m. I was in my bedroom, folding my clothes. And then I heard it. It was that same low, electric buzzing. The vibration I felt with my chief 6 years ago. It was coming from my living room. My teeth started to ache. My vision started to vibrate. I froze. I grabbed my service weapon from the nightstand. I walked into the hallway. The buzzing was so loud it made me dizzy. I looked toward the front door. The door was locked, but the doorknob was rattling, violently. It sounded like a rapid machine gun clacking. And then a sound came from the other side of the door. That massive, wet inhale. The gasp of the man on the ladder. I ran to the window and looked out into the driveway. My blood turned to ice. Standing in my driveway was the ladder. The same rusted industrial ladder. And standing on top of it, towering over my car, was the man in the suit. He was facing my house. His white eyes were staring right at me through the window. His mouth was open. And then he raised his hand, and he pointed at me. I didn't pack the rest of my stuff. I grabbed my keys. I ran out the back door. I got in my truck and I drove. I drove until I hit the state line. I never went back to my cabin. I never went back for my clothes. I live in a city now, on the 10th floor of an apartment building. I like the height. It makes me feel safe. But yesterday, I was walking home, and I passed a construction site. There was a ladder leaning against the scaffolding. And for a split second, I heard it. That sharp, drilling buzz. I don't think I escaped. I think I just delayed the inevitable. The woods are vast, but the things inside them, they have long legs. And they know where I am. This is why Jake disappeared. This is why you never touch the stairs. And you never touch the ladder. We haven't heard from Jake since he sent us this final email. Jake, if you are listening, keep running. Thank you for watching this episode of True Haunting Log. If this story terrified you, please hit that like button. It helps us warn others. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next story might be yours. We need to know. Have you ever heard the buzzing? Email us at truehauntinglog@gmail.com. That is truehauntinglog@gmail.com. Stay safe. Lock your doors. And don't look out the window tonight. Good night.